Hi, I'm Ronald Placone. Welcome to the Professor R.J. Placone on Communication Excellence YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about the Gen Z stare. Um, recent New York Times article about it. There's been a lot of said around this particular communication move that is popular with Gen Z, and I think it deserves some attention. So what is the Gen Z stare? It's essentially a blank stare when typically a verbal response would be more common. It's frequently done in service settings where maybe the recipient of a communication from a customer client is unreasonable, you know, something that's odd about it, and the response could be a stare, a blank stare, which creates some discomfort for those on the receiving end of the stare. So, I mean, why has this emerged? Why is this a topic? Well, one, it's unusual. Whenever we see an unusual communication form, we tend to talk about it. I think often these things start and get mimicked by others, and it sweeps across a generation. I mean, I grew up as part of the boomer generation. I saw the change in handshakes. I mean, traditionally, you met your uncle's friend or something, you gave a nice clasp of the hand. And then, somewhere in the 60s, all of a sudden to be cool, it was more interlocking thumbs. And that's how you suggested we're cool, we're different. And that became our nonverbal expression of being different. And I think in some ways, this stare is Gen Z's way of saying we're a bit different. Now, there are all these theories about why it has emerged, and some of them relate to Gen Z's reliance on technology and online communication and being a little less comfortable in face-to-face interactions. Uh, the COVID years, very formative years for many of them were spent in isolation or further apart from other people. I mean, that has a significant impact, and maybe that's part of what's in play here. The consequence of these types of unique moves would be confusion. I mean, again, if you are on the receiving end and someone just stares at you when you're expecting them to say something, you don't quite know how to respond. I mean, we see that in a variety of ways. I purposely picked all uppercase in my cover for this particular video because when we see something written in all uppercase rather than a combination of upper and lower case, we feel a little strange. We're not sure why, and the biggest reason is that we don't see it as often, and it takes us longer to process written communication that is done in all uppercase, just as we're trying to process what exactly does it mean by that stare, or when someone, especially in Western cultures, doesn't establish eye contact with us. Gee, why are they not looking me in the eyes? Well, certainly in some cultures, that could be a generational difference. There could be a gender issue in play. But in Western cultures, we tend to expect people to look us in the eyes, and those are the ones that tell us we feel are telling us the truth. But again, when we see something different, we're taken back. We don't know how to respond. In some ways, it's there's a good thing here, and that one of the things I always preach to students is to get comfortable with brief moments of silence. Don't just utter something for the sake of filling time, filling the silence with words that may not make sense or may just be filler words. But even establishing eye contact or silence can be taken too far. If we establish eye contact too long with someone, we feel like boy, they're drilling a hole through me. Why are they staring at me? And if we hear too much silence, we wonder what exactly is going on. So, what does this tell us in general about communication? What can we learn from this? As we already talked about, one, there is risk when you do something different because people don't know how to interpret it. It's not something they see regularly. They're just a bit unsure. Did I say something wrong? What is being communicated to me? I'm not quite sure. Um, Also, I think that we take for granted the skill of small talk and just exchanging pleasantries and just sort of formulaic communication in any kind of setting. But small talk takes practice. Part of a business school, one of the things you teach students is a lot about networking and the art of small talk. So, on one hand, we may think that comes natural to people, but I think when we see situations like this where people aren't engaging necessarily in small talk and relying on nonverbal communication, we're reminded that it doesn't come that easily. It really is a learned skill. And I think more than anything, though, you have to learn to not overinterpret things. There could be a variety of reasons why the person is engaging in a certain type of verbal or nonverbal communication, and you can't automatically assign a reason for it. Oh, that person's not establishing eye contact with me because they're lying to me, or that person is silent for a long period of time because they have nothing to say. No, we could err by coming to those conclusions too quickly. So I think generally give people the benefit of the doubt, realize that each generation makes its mark on some communication protocols, and this Gen Z Gen Z, the youngest generation in the workplace, mainly the folks in their 20s, this is just one of the ways that they communicate. May or may not be related to the COVID years and an over reliance on technology to communicate, but it's something that we have to maybe give them the benefit of the doubt and try to continue the communication process to dig a little deeper to see what exactly is going on. Thanks so much.